Hello there, friend. I'm Bear Maple. Before we begin, take a deep breath with me, in and out, nice and slow. Now, think about this. Have you ever spoken without thinking? Said something sharp, loud, or careless, just because you were upset or in a hurry? Words can be quick, but they can also linger, can't they? They can fill a room like sunlight, or float away, leaving nothing behind. Today, we're not here to scold or blame. We're here to wonder, to explore what happens when we stop to really feel what we're saying. Because sometimes, the words we speak shape more than just moments. They shape how others feel, and how we feel too. So wherever you are, on your couch, in your classroom, or snuggled under a blanket, this is your moment to listen, to breathe, and to imagine. Are you ready? Let's begin. The day my voice turned into bubbles. It was a Monday morning, and Aubrey was not in the mood. The sun was too bright. Her pillow was too warm. Her dreams had ended too soon. Her little brother had already beaten her to the kitchen, and in his rush, he spilled orange juice all over her carefully finished homework. Her mom, standing by the sink, gave her that look. The one that meant, "We're running late again." "Brush your hair properly this time, Aubrey," she said, not unkindly, but it still stung. Then, as Aubrey bent down to tie her shoelaces, their dog barked, loud, right beside her ear. That was it. Aubrey crossed her arms, furrowed her brow, and snapped. "Ugh, you're all so annoying. Can't anyone do anything right?" The room fell silent. Her brother blinked. Her mom froze mid-stir. Even the dog tilted its head. But something stranger happened. Something none of them expected. Aubrey's next words didn't sound right. They didn't echo, or bounce, or even sting. They floated. "I said I'm leaving." But when Aubrey shouted the words, but nothing happened. No sound came out. Instead, a stream of soft, shimmering bubbles drifted from her lips, rising gently into the air like soap dreams. They sparkled in the kitchen light, round, fragile, and silent. Her mom blinked, spoon in hand, completely confused. Her little brother stared for a moment, then burst into giggles. Even the dog tilted its head, ears perked, trying to make sense of what had just floated by. Aubrey clapped her hands over her mouth. "What is going on?" she tried to say. But again, bloop, bloop, bloop. Only more bubbles. Blue ones, pink ones, some so clear they caught the shape of the ceiling. The words were gone. All that was left was silence. And the soft pop of disappearing sentences. At recess, Aubrey tried to shout at her classmates during dodgeball. One of them had clearly stepped over the line. She opened her mouth to call it out, but all that came out were bubbles. At lunch, she tried to argue with her best friend over who got the bigger cookie. She pointed and frowned, but then again just bubbles. Aubrey stomped across the playground, all the way to the edge, where the old whispering tree stood, twisted and wise. And that's when she heard it. A breeze stirred the leaves. Not just wind, but a voice carried on it. Soft, distant, and strange. "Echo Mountain, your voice awaits." Aubrey sat up. Her eyes searched the horizon. There, in the distance beyond the schoolyard fence, there stood a line of hills. One of them shimmered faintly, as if the sunlight had settled there on purpose. "I'm going," she whispered. But of course, bloop, a single bubble drifted from her lips and floated up toward the sky. That afternoon, Aubrey packed a few things, some crackers, a water bottle, and her favorite lucky sock. It always made her feel a little braver. She tiptoed past the creaky gate, past the barking dog who paused mid-bark to stare at her, and out toward the quiet stretch beyond the neighborhood. The air felt cooler, the wind gentler. Even the birds seemed to stop and stare as she passed. Finally, at the foot of Echo Mountain, she saw it. An old wooden sign carved into a mossy stone. "Speak only what echoes kindly." She read it twice, then stepped forward. The ground gave a soft rumble, like a sleepy yawn. And just ahead, something magical happened. A row of floating stones appeared in the air, forming a winding path up the mountain. Cautiously, she reached for the first step. Nothing. She frowned in confusion. Then, without meaning to, she let out a tiny, curious smile. The stone beneath her foot shimmered and held firm. Halfway up the mountain, Aubrey stepped into a quiet, misty valley tucked between two cliffs. She stopped and whispered, "I want my voice back." But nothing came back. No echo. Then, from the mist, a faint reply floated back. Not her words, but something else entirely. "You must learn why it left." Aubrey's shoulders tensed. She clenched her fists and stomped the ground in frustration. Pop! A bubble burst beside her foot. Suddenly, from the gray stone walls, a figure emerged, tall, still, and ancient. It was a stone elder, carved from rock, with moss in his beard and cracks across his face. His eyes glowed faintly like candlelight. His voice was deep and slow, like thunder far away. "Words are not toys, young one. You threw yours like stones. Now, you must gather new ones, soft ones and strong ones." From his open hand, he offered her a glowing shell, smooth and warm to the touch. "Say something kind," he said. "If it echoes, your path will open." Aubrey hesitated. She looked down at the glowing shell in her hand, unsure, nervous. But then, softly, she whispered into it, "My brother is funny, even when he spills juice." The shell shimmered like a pearl in sunlight. Suddenly, a trail of butterflies, glowing golden and blue, appeared ahead, lighting the next few steps. She followed, heart thudding gently. Then she spoke again, voice steadier. "My mom tries her best. I should try too." The butterflies danced forward, opening more of the mountain path. With every kind truth she spoke, the mountain responded. Stone steps unfurled, trees bowed slightly in the breeze. The air seemed to hum with approval. And Aubrey, she felt something shift inside her. Lighter, warmer, not as angry, as if the bubbles had made room for something better. At the top of the mountain stood a small crystal hut, glowing softly like moonlight trapped in glass. At the door is the voice keeper, an old, gentle figure cloaked in wind and stars. His eyes shimmered like night skies, and he held a clear jar brimming with soft, drifting bubbles. "These," he said in a voice that sounded like both thunder and hush, "are your lost words, careless ones. They floated away because they had no kindness to weigh them down." The voice keeper reached beneath his cloak and handed her a tiny silver bell. "Ring this only if your heart is ready to speak with care. Thoughtful words are powerful. Use them well." Aubrey clutched the bell, took a slow breath, and gently said, "I'm sorry for the way I spoke. I don't want my voice back just to shout. I want it back to share things that matter." She rang the bell. The bubbles in the jar shimmered, then burst into sparkling glitter, and just like that, her voice returned. As Aubrey walked back home, the birds chirped. "She feels light, warm and different. A good different." She called out, "Good morning." No bubbles, just sound. She said thank you to the mailman, sorry to her classmate, and that night, she hugged her mom and whispered, "I love you." No bubbles, just warmth. And from that day on, Aubrey used her voice like a gift, carefully, kindly, and never just to be the loudest in the room. Because she now understood, words have power. They can float away like bubbles, or land gently like feathers, making someone's day better, not worse. She still had big feelings sometimes, but now, she knew how to let her heart speak, not just her anger. And when she did, her words didn't vanish. They stayed. They mattered. The end. If this story filled your heart, let it ripple to someone else. Like the video. Share it with a friend. Follow Bear Maple for more gentle stories, kind lessons, and magical adventures. And don't forget to subscribe, because every heart needs a little more kindness.